The sky above Earth was quiet and calm, yet a strange tension hung in the air. Cities bustled with daily life, unaware that something vast and terrifying was approaching from the depths of space. Far beyond the orbit of Mars, sensors began to flicker, strange signals dancing across every human monitoring system. Scientists at the Global Space Authority stared at their screens in disbelief. Something massive was moving toward Earth at unimaginable speed. Captain Elena Drake stood at the observation deck of the orbital station, her eyes fixed on the growing blips on the radar. "This can't be a meteor or an asteroid," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. The size, the speed, everything was wrong. And then the first visual images came through. The fleet, countless ships stretching farther than the eye could see, moved in perfect formation, glimmering coldly in the vacuum of space. A fleet that had conquered 164 worlds before, leaving trails of silence and destruction in its wake. Governments around the world scrambled, alarms blared, and emergency broadcasts filled every screen and speaker. People stopped in the streets, looking up at the sky in fear and awe. No one had ever imagined seeing the unstoppable force of the galaxy so close. Scientists and military leaders convened urgently, debating what could be done, how humanity could possibly prepare for an enemy so powerful. Yet no one had answers. The fleet simply hovered silently, as if observing. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The sheer scale of the ships made everything she knew about space defense meaningless. "It's like they are waiting," she said to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Rowe, who shook his head in disbelief. Every telescope, every satellite, tried to capture more details, but the fleet's technology seemed beyond human comprehension. Energy shields shimmered faintly around the largest ships, absorbing every probing signal. The humans were blind to their true power. Across Earth, news of the fleet's arrival spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with images and speculation. Fear and panic gripped the world. Families huddled together. Soldiers prepared for battles that might never come. Yet the sense of helplessness was universal. Even as the fleet drew closer, no weapon fired, no signal came. They were not attacking, at least. Not yet, and that made the tension even worse, because no one knew what they were waiting for. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the fleet began to vanish. Ships that had blotted out the stars seemed to dissolve into nothingness. Sensors failed, cameras went dark, and the blinding glow of alien energy faded into the emptiness of space. Elena could hardly believe her eyes. "Where did they go?" she murmured. The world below held its collective breath, people emerging from shelters and streets, staring into the sky that was now eerily empty. The greatest threat humanity had ever seen had disappeared completely, leaving nothing but questions and a growing sense of dread. No one knew why the fleet had come, or why it vanished. The scientists speculated. The military planned, but the truth remained elusive. Was it a warning, a test, or something even stranger? Elena looked out at the empty stars, her heart pounding. She had a feeling this was only the beginning. Humanity had glimpsed the shadows of a power far greater than itself, and the universe had suddenly become a much larger, more dangerous place. The arrival of shadows had begun, and the story of humanity's struggle against the unknown was just starting. After the alien fleet vanished, Earth tried to return to normal. Yet something had changed. The world felt smaller, more fragile, as if the shadows of the conqueror still lingered. Satellites malfunctioned, communication networks flickered, and strange energy pulses appeared over major cities. Scientists and engineers struggled to understand the phenomenon, while military commanders warned of dangers they could not see. Captain Elena Drake studied the readings from the orbital station, her eyes scanning data that made no sense. "These signals, they are intelligent," she said to Lieutenant Rowe, who frowned at the patterns, "but they are not attacking us." Yet, across the globe, governments poured resources into tracking the signals, but every probe that moved toward them disappeared without a trace. The fleet's technology was advanced beyond imagination, able to observe and manipulate without leaving a single clue. People on Earth began noticing small changes. Drones went missing, ships vanished at sea, animals disappeared from forests and oceans, and strange lights danced across the sky at night. Citizens whispered of signs, of warnings, and rumors of an invisible force watching them. Fear spread faster than the unknown signals. Panic creeping quietly into daily life, Elena gathered a team of scientists and military strategists to investigate. They worked tirelessly, tracing energy surges, mapping anomalies, and trying to predict the fleet's return. But the patterns were too complex, moving faster than any human technology, and every time they thought they had a clue, it vanished, leaving them in confusion. Each day, the fleet's presence felt closer, even if it could not be seen. Meanwhile, strange messages began to appear on encrypted networks. Small bursts of alien code that hinted at intelligence, not hostility. Some were warnings, others seemed like tests, and the more humans tried to decode them, the more questions arose. It became clear that the fleet was not here for simple destruction. They were observing, measuring, and learning, as if studying humanity itself. Military leaders debated whether to prepare for immediate war, while scientists argued for caution and understanding. The tension between action and observation created unease across nations. Alina worked to unite the two sides, believing that only through knowledge could humanity survive the coming challenge. She often stayed at the observation deck late into the night, staring at the stars, feeling the weight of countless unknown threats. Then, without warning, a small alien drone appeared above the Pacific Ocean, hovering silently, invisible to satellites, yet detectable by human sensors. It did not attack, it did not communicate, yet its presence sent waves of fear through the world. Nations scrambled fighter jets and defense systems, but the drone vanished before anyone could reach it, leaving behind only an echo of its energy. Alina realized that the fleet's arrival was only the first act. The unseen threat had begun, and humanity was being tested in ways it could not yet understand. Every action, every observation, and every reaction was being watched, measured, and perhaps judged. As night fell across Earth, people looked up at the stars with a mixture of hope and dread. The alien fleet had disappeared, but its shadow lingered, a reminder that the universe was vast, dangerous, and full of mysteries. Alina clenched her fists, determined to prepare, to understand, and to face the unknown. Humanity had been warned, and the test had only just begun. The unseen threat was real, and it was patient, waiting for the right moment to reveal its full power. Humanity had survived the first encounter, yet questions about the alien fleet grew heavier with each passing day. Captain Elena Drake and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing every signal, every strange anomaly, hoping to uncover the fleet's true intentions. The data showed patterns, hints that the aliens were not mindless destroyers, but observers, collectors of knowledge and technology. Alina studied the records of the 164 worlds the fleet had conquered. Each civilization had been wiped out, yet strangely, fragments of their culture, science, and history remained carefully preserved. It was as if the fleet destroyed only the threat, while taking the wisdom of the conquered. Humanity had never faced an enemy like this, one that learned and grew stronger with every conquest. Meanwhile, strange events continued on Earth. Ships vanished in the Atlantic, satellites disappeared, and energy bursts were detected over major cities. The fleet's technology seemed able to manipulate space itself, bending reality to its will. No one could predict its actions, and the fear that had settled over the world deepened. Elena's team discovered partial alien communications hidden in the energy pulses. Using advanced decoding software, they managed to translate small pieces of messages, hints of a larger intelligence, not violence, but study, curiosity, and calculation. Each message revealed a new layer of mystery, suggesting that humanity was being observed, tested, perhaps even judged. The question that haunted everyone was simple. Why Earth? Why now? World leaders debated the findings, some calling for immediate attack, others urging caution. The truth remained elusive, and time was slipping away. Alina realized that brute force alone would not be enough. Humanity had to understand the fleet, its motives, and its methods. Before any confrontation could occur, then came the first direct encounter. A massive alien probe entered Earth's orbit. Unlike before, it remained visible, shimmering with strange energy fields. Alina and her team watched in awe and terror as it hovered silently above the planet. Scanners revealed that it was analyzing everything: cities, oceans, human activity, even the thoughts of those nearby. The fleet was not just watching, they were studying life itself. The probe projected holographic images of the conquered worlds, showing humanity what had happened, how the fleet had defeated civilizations, preserved knowledge, and erased the weak. It was a lesson, a warning, and a puzzle all at once. Humanity saw what awaited if they failed, but they also glimpsed the power of survival. of adaptation, and of cleverness. Alina realized that the fleet's goal might not be war, but understanding. She believed that if humanity could prove itself clever, resilient, and united, they might survive what was coming. Each day became a race to decipher more signals, to predict the fleet's movements, and to prepare for what might be the greatest challenge in human history. As night fell over Earth, cities glowed with artificial light, but the shadows of the fleet lingered in the stars. People whispered of aliens that watched and learned of a judgment coming from the void. Alina looked up at the sky, her heart pounding. Humanity had been given a secret, a challenge hidden in the shadows, and the answers were still far away. The secrets of the fleet were slowly unfolding, each discovery bringing hope and fear. Humanity had glimpsed the truth. The universe was not just dangerous, it was a classroom, and Earth was now under the fleet's silent, patient observation. The game had changed, and the real test of humanity was only beginning. The world had learned that the alien fleet was not just a threat, but a patient observer. Humanity now faced a new challenge: how to prepare without provoking disaster. Captain Alina Drake worked with leaders, scientists, and soldiers from every nation, uniting them under a single goal: understanding the fleet and protecting Earth. Defense systems were upgraded, satellites equipped with new sensors, and AI programs designed to track the invisible probes. Military bases buzzed with activity as soldiers trained, weapons tested, and strategies debated. Yet every expert knew that brute force alone could not stop the fleet. Humanity had to be smarter, faster, and more creative than ever before. Alina led a team of the best scientists, engineers, and codebreakers, working day and night, analyzing signals and patterns left by the alien probes. "They are learning from us," she said, "and we must learn from them." They discovered ways to predict minor movements of the fleet, small patterns that revealed how the aliens studied civilizations. Each clue was precious, each breakthrough a step closer to understanding the unseen enemy. Then came the first real contact. A massive alien ship entered Earth's orbit, not attacking, but hovering silently. Its hull shimmered with unknown energy, strange lights moving like rivers across its surface. It projected images and data directly into human networks, revealing a fraction of its knowledge and technology. Humanity saw glimpses of how the fleet conquered other worlds, yet no threat came, only observation. Nations held their breath as military satellites detected faint energy pulses from the ship. A cryptic message appeared, translated only partially by Alina's team. "Observe and prove," it read, simple words with enormous weight. The fleet was giving humanity a challenge, a test of intelligence, courage, and resilience. The meaning was clear: survive, adapt, and show your worth, or face consequences unknown. Alina knew that the test required unity, not division. She worked tirelessly to coordinate global efforts, urging scientists and soldiers to collaborate. The world had to think like one mind, anticipating, adapting, and learning faster than the fleet could measure. Every city became a research hub, every military base a learning center. Humanity was no longer passive. They were responding, preparing for the invisible test. Strange events continued. Drones appeared and vanished. Energy pulses hummed in the skies, and natural phenomena seemed influenced by alien technology. Yet the fear that had once paralyzed people now drove innovation, courage, and determination. Humanity was becoming stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. Alina stood on the observation deck at night, looking at the glowing city below and the dark stars above. The fleet still watched, still waited, and still judged. She knew that the real challenge was not in fighting, but in surviving with intelligence and wisdom. Humanity had learned to respond, not with weapons alone, but with strategy, courage, and hope. Then, without warning, the massive ship vanished again, leaving only a faint pulse in orbit. The world held its breath, unsure whether it would return. Alina clenched her fists, determined. "We will be ready," she whispered. No matter what comes next, humanity had responded, and the shadows of the fleet had witnessed it. The test was ongoing, the challenge growing, and the true power of the fleet remained hidden. But humanity had awakened, prepared to face the unseen threat, and ready to prove itself worthy of survival. The game had changed, and Earth was no longer a passive player. It was learning, adapting, and preparing for the ultimate encounter. The world waited, tense and alert, every eye turned toward the sky. Humanity had learned, adapted, and prepared, yet the alien fleet remained a mystery. Captain Elena Drake felt the weight of the unknown pressing on her. Each day brought new signals, small anomalies, and strange energy pulses. But the fleet itself stayed hidden, watching silently, for months. Earth worked as one, scientists sharing data, militaries coordinating strategies, and people learning to live under the shadow of the unseen fleet. Humanity had grown stronger, cleverer, and more united. Yet the question remained, why did the fleet come, and why did it vanish? Then, the first ship appeared above Earth, massive and radiant, shimmering with alien energy. It hovered silently over the Pacific, scanning the planet. Every nation watched in awe and fear, unable to decide whether to strike or retreat. The ship projected a final holographic message, images of the conquered worlds it had studied, showing the fates of civilizations that had failed, and the lessons humanity could learn. Elena realized the truth slowly, pieces of the puzzle falling into place. The fleet did not seek war, but observation. They tested civilizations to see which could adapt, learn, and survive. The vanishings, the signals, the probes, they were all part of a greater experiment, a silent judgment of intelligence, courage, and resilience. Humanity had passed the first tests, responding with unity, strategy, and innovation, showing that they were clever, adaptable, and worthy of survival. The fleet hovered a while longer. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished completely, leaving Earth untouched. Empty space stretched above, silent and vast, yet filled with the knowledge that something powerful had been watching. People on Earth erupted in celebration, relief washing over nations like a wave. Yet Elena felt a chill, knowing that the fleet had not left forever. The messages hinted that this was only the beginning. A larger test would come, and the true challenge had yet to arrive. Humanity had learned to survive, but survival was only the first step. The fleet had given humans something more valuable than technology or power. It had given them understanding, the knowledge that the universe was full of forces beyond imagination, that intelligence and courage could tip the balance, and that unity was the greatest weapon against the unknown. Elena stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars, remembering the fleet's silence, the vanished ships, the cryptic messages. She understood now that humanity had been judged and found worthy, but the universe was not finished. The fleet's disappearance was not retreat, but patience, waiting for the next test, watching and learning from Earth's growth. As night fell across the planet, cities glowed with life and hope. Humanity had changed, stronger and wiser, aware that the shadows of the fleet could return at any moment. The vanishing truth was simple yet profound. The greatest enemy might not strike with weapons, but with knowledge, observation, and challenges that tested the soul of a civilization. Elena whispered to herself, "We have survived, but the real journey has just begun." Humanity had faced the shadows, adapted, and endured. The alien fleet had vanished, yet its presence lingered in every discovery, every innovation, and every united effort of a species that refused to be conquered. The story of survival, courage, and the unseen threat ended for now. But the universe was vast, full of mysteries, and Earth had learned one vital lesson. Humanity could rise, adapt, and endure, even under the silent watch of the greatest conquerors of the galaxy.